leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
40.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here. We're also live over in the YouTube streets, as well as Abstract Chat and Steve's account on X. The video feed is live. As always, I'm Cap. I'm my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky. Meme coins are exceptionally risky, and all go to zero to moment's notice, except for right now. Everything is running green, so you should have bought yesterday, not today. But I'm certainly not a financial advisor. We're definitely not your financial advisors. Just join us for some fun, some information, and some education along the way. GM Steve, hair's looking mighty dapper this morning. New cut, or am I just feeling it?
No, I appreciate the nice compliment. No, not a new cut. Just apparently I got it nice and shiny and well done this morning. But yeah, GM to everybody out there. GM to the we got Hizzy Von Fronten across multiple chats. Slower YouTube and X chat this morning. So give us some love there. Like, retweet, comment as well. Teacher Katie, Mesh, Thomas, Von Fronten in the other chat. Be Epic, Machiavelli. Lots of good folks. Dan is nearby. Good to see you out there as well. Over in the X streets. Again, like, retweet, comment, and bookmark the space. We always say, like, we haven't sold anything to you, at least as of yet. We plan on giving away even more as we get going. So the likers, the retweeters, and the commenters will be rewarded handsomely, at least hopefully, because we are trying our best. So do us a favor and give us some love there. That's how you help us get continue to do this show, by letting our sponsors know that we're here.
Just may require us selling your email to third parties. I kid, but
Yeah, that one's a no. But yeah, I know I sent you that text yesterday related to a couple things. But no, give us some love there. Dobbins, good seeing you out there. Zane, always. Maria, good seeing you in the chat. Dort, love the nerdy coffee cup that you got going on there. Screenwriter Dave, Kapow, Hizzy, Mel, you are never slow. Mel, you're always on it quickly. Ark Invest, good seeing you out there as well. Chief, Clay, and all of our friends, Mesh, Von Frontenanos, who do multiple chats. We do appreciate it. Cap, lot, or actually, I wouldn't even say a lot to cover this morning. Definitely some good stuff to cover this morning as we get going. Again, give us a like or retweet, a comment on the room, a bookmark, because you don't check your bookmarks anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely feel good waking up to a green morning. Cap, has ETH decoupled from traditional markets in Bitcoin? Is ETH the ultimate runner now? I just, it is wild to me looking at the pricing going on with ETH leading the way up 10% in 24 hours. What the hell, man? I don't get it.
You sold, didn't you? You finally capitulated all your ETH, didn't you?
No, but it is funny you say that because you want to talk about marking the exact bottom. So yesterday, and I know we can
wild that we are giddy over almost $1,800 ETH. Like, we're praying for 2K ETH, and I'm old enough to remember, like, we were programmed for 10K by the end of the year in 2021.
Yeah, I made the comment my yesterday, just in the morning. I just said, remember when we thought ETH was going to be $10,000 in short order? That was fun. ETH is still incredible for secure decentralized smart contracts, and the L2 is built on top of it. But one of the perils of crypto, it's so often hard to decouple the tech from the price. And ETH just said, hold my beer. Why not both? So, love seeing it. But this is literally yesterday. I want to check 7:42 a.m. yesterday. So I'm going to do something real quick because I'm curious where we're at here. So I'm just going to check on the chart. So I said 10:40. Did I say 10:42? No, that can't be right. We're going to go back and check, and then we're going to come right back to this chart just to make sure.
I did 2 NFTs yesterday too, Steve, and ETH is still up. Like, simulation is doing a thing today.
So let's see if we can say in 24 hours. Can we get to 7:42 yesterday? I guess we can't without 24-hour. That's 1 year. Let's go to 7-day and see how far we can go to yesterday. So yesterday would have been the 22nd at 22. These numbers are not helpful to me. So 7 would have been down here. So I wasn't quite the bottom, but if you're looking at the screen, you can see where the 704 was yesterday's here. So I was damn near the bottom. I was pretty close. I have this on market cap, so let's see what the price is at that time yesterday. So it was at 1,600 when I tweeted that. It had been 1,576 today. So I was about $50 off the local bottom, but we have shot up since. We are now at almost 1,800. So do the math on that. Let's call it 1,600. So up quite a bit on that one. A solid jump since my tweet. So I will start bear posting everything that everyone holds, and we will see where it goes. You minted 2 NFTs yesterday, so I'm guessing Minotaurs and Think token.
Yep. And I know we were struggling at the end of the show there with getting set up for Minotaurs. It was user error on my end, anyways. I kept, because similar to you, I knew I had delegated my wallet. I just hadn't, at the top there on delegate, they had that V2, and you had to go through V2, toggle on the shadow token, and then everything worked like butter. It was, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't asked James point blank. I haven't asked anyone on the Yuga team. I'm guessing there's more than meets the eye with gobs and minotaurs. I hold no gobs. I minted 1 minotaur yesterday. What I mean by that is I truly think they're part of this is experimenting and testing on chain, and I'm really excited for what comes next, because this was hard to do a couple years ago as far as having a primary asset on mainnet and then taking that to other chains where you could utilize it for more utility. Now that it's set up, getting that, like, it's the UI is not great for a first time user. I'll say that. But once it's set up, it is. I mean, I was super impressed. Like the mint site, and I don't know how much of that was James versus Believer, but I mean, it was updating the remaining quantity in real time as far as like each collection. If you missed it, I don't think the site will still. Actually, I don't even know what the link is. Let me see if I can find the mint site, and I'll pull it up on screen. But basically there was several collections. It could claim one for free. Gobs had a couple thousand. Apes had like 250. Punks had like 50. Quits collections had like 25 each, and you could see it. They were going, like the numbers were decreasing in real time as people were claiming. And to think that most of those assets were on mainnet, like I was pretty impressed with the process. After, again, on me because I didn't take the time to get it set up properly beforehand. But after going through and getting it done, it worked super smooth. And then, we don't need to go back and relitigate the whole Think conversation from yesterday, but this is one where will we accept sponsor money and partnership deals on things that like are okay and they have a shot? And sure, if it's not a rug, we don't think they have malicious intentions, we'll work with teams. Doesn't mean necessarily like our conviction is at 100 out of 100 on every single one of those partnership deals. This is one where it's pretty darn close to 100 out of 100. It was one that we've been a fan of this team predating Think, and I meant what I said yesterday. Like it really feels like could be, maybe not, maybe the thing they don't accomplish their goals and everyone forgets about it a few years from now, or a decade from now we look back and this is one of the leading standardized protocols, and we help that launch, we help that start. And like that to me is like part of the reason I'm here and part of what gets me excited. Like thinking back to ApeCon and helping these new entrepreneurs, like it feels like we're back in the sense of builders supporting builders and community supporting builders. It's not NFT silly season, but you think about, we talked yesterday about Good Vibes Club and Final Bossu, and think like the teams that are putting in high effort, they're winning right now. And that's exciting. Like it doesn't need to go rip to 100 ETH. Like the min outs trading above floor price. Like this is real momentum. I say all this cautiously optimistic because I've also seen there's another well-known group of scammers that are dropping another Solana mint. Like the scammers are coming out. I saw there's, someone that I don't have anything against, but I know there's been some clapback. I don't even get into that. I'm not trying to call more attention to it, but one of these scammers, ruggers, grifters, whatever you want to call them, extractors, I'll call them that. They were platformed by another content creator in this space who I don't think is a scammer, grifter, or have nefarious intentions, but that's coming back too, Steve. So it's like I don't know where I'm getting at here, other than as things are heating up on the exciting side, it also feels like the door is opening back up, and those that just want to extract and take advantage of the markets heating up are also coming back at the same time. And let's not do that this time. Let's not give these people attention and capital. And is there a chance something they promote because they're going to scam pump it and dump it? Like it could rip to a 10x first and then go to zero. Yeah, that's possible. Support people that you really want to support, not something that you think is going to be a quick 10x, but inevitably it's going to go to zero. In my rant,
I have a lot of directions I can go with this. To your point about the Think thing,
did you know the who I was even referring? I know I was being very vague there.
You said you're talking about Mika interviewing Bark Meta. Very well familiar. So like, I have a lot of directions I can go here. I mean, I think one, it bums me out. Like I think Mika's a super smart content creator. She can explain complex things very simply and make them cool. Like something I could never do, right? Like I am not cool. I cannot do that. She is cool and can do that. I don't love, I remember at one point when Bark Meta was first kind of coming up, I made the comment, I'm like, dude, you're really smart. Like you don't need to do this shit. Like you could actually have really intelligent conversations, and just went down a different direction. It looks like
Giving us Ohio Boy is a bad name.
What's that?
Giving us Ohio Boy is a bad name.
Yeah, not only is he from Ohio, he has bark in his handle, which I literally, like, for a while there, I would catch strays where people would tag me about something and someone would be like, oh no, that dude's a big grifter and scammer and horrible person and blah blah blah. And I'd be like, I think you have me confused, friend. Is the person you were referring to a person who writes nerdy articles and speaks at nerdy universities? And they were like, oh no, my bad. But I had to fight that off for a while, so that's going to be coming back, which I'm super excited for. But no, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, the interview looks set up and contrived. Like, it looks like they like stage a fake walkout of some sort, and it's just kind of acting. And this is what content is for a lot of things now, and it's a bummer that it's spilling over this way. I'm not going to tell people who to interview and what to do, but there was a Sam Harris interview, which I thought was really, really interesting. I definitely didn't expect to go this direction this morning. So Sam Harris, somebody who's like a really smart intellectual who I respect. I don't agree with all of his perspectives, but I find him to be pretty smart. He made this commentary about Joe Rogan. So there's a guy who was on Joe Rogan who is a person who was arguing with, he had a debate with this guy, Dave Smith, who is, who talks regularly about like international conflicts. Part of the problem is this, this guy came across as sort of arrogant and, kind of like a dick, but at the same time, he was right. Like, and part of the problem, and Sam Harris talked about it, part of the problem with what Joe Rogan does, which I like Joe Rogan's show, is Joe is really intellectually curious. And if you come to him on fighting or you come to him on comedy, he's going to correct you and know what's right and wrong. But he has people on who will just bring false information sometimes, and he doesn't know the difference, and obviously he hasn't done the research to question it. And Sam Harris basically made this point of like, look, like, you don't have to do this because you're a podcaster. You don't have this responsibility, but you probably want to consider being a little bit more savvy about how you prepare for these interviews so that you're not putting out false information, accidentally endorsing this stuff. And, I guess like my point being, like, if you're somebody who's interviewing people in Web3, one, like, asking tough questions or being prepared in that accordingly for that sort of interview, I think is probably important. And number two, like, the fake stage out and things like, or walkout stage stuff like that, that's just like, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, trying to fool my kids with content. It's just, it feels like they're going to this content well that exists in, the TikTok world and things, but it's not, I don't know. It's just not, I'm not excited about that. So I know we're not going to go deep into that one, and it is what it is, but it's just that one, it bums me out because I could have seen myself getting caught up in the same sort of stuff when I was in my 20s anyway. Like, so, it's kind of what people chase and views and things. So to your point, that's coming back. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which I didn't know I was going to go down this direction, but I sort of have this like sad fear that with everything that we have going on, with the scammers and the over-financialization of the space, I'm increasingly thinking that when this technology becomes like actually like really mass adopted and put into place, the pioneers and early people in this space will be not the ones taking advantage of it, but it's going to be the same old institutions and corporations that did before, because they're going to use it and it's going to work well. And a lot of the pioneers are being chased out by the scammers and the over-financialization of this space. And I worry that we're going to hit this tipping point. And there's going to be a very small number of survivors, and it's just going to be the large companies that are sitting there cooking and eating as we go on. Like, I have this worry about like where we end up, where it's just like the same 5 companies are going to control all the AI. The same 5 companies are going to control all the blockchain applications. The same financial institutions are going to control all the crypto, and the people who had the chance to beat them to the punch are not going to do so, because we're in this spot where we have all these scammers, all these grifters, and all these people coming through. And I don't know, man. I just had this thought that like we're basically chasing out the pioneers, and I talk to more and more founders who are like, what am I even doing here? I don't like the holders. The holders don't like me. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, I feel a little dystopian about who's going to be controlling everything in this space moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't feel as I don't feel as if we're in as bad of a spot as maybe as I'm reading that you might think we are currently. but that's why I bring it up, is like, this feels like the real pivotal moment was probably 7 years ago, 4 years ago. Now feels like a pretty big moment, especially as, you think about it, like, high level, how the hell did Hayden Davis get in touch with the president of Argentina? Like, that is like on the extreme end of the spectrum. That's bad. That shouldn't be happening. These people that are pump and dumpers should not be representing our industry to nation state governments and leaders of those countries. Like, that's just, how did that happen? I still haven't got my head around that.
Yeah, I don't know. And
like,
that's
I'm not like, show me another industry where, I don't know how old he is, some 27-year-old is going to walk in with, sneakers and a hoodie and get, like, how does he get that meeting even? Like, I'm really kind of blown away that we got to that point. I also think it might be like some silver lining that because we got to that point, because that incident, that event happened, maybe there is a little more due diligence involved from these that aren't familiar with the space, that are entering the space. Maybe they do look for more credible individuals, or do more due diligence before getting in a relationship with someone. I don't know. Is that a reach?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if it's going to be like, I feel like we are increasingly getting, and by the way, I see the comments about the Douglas Murray stuff. That was the point, is like Douglas Murray like turned people off because I think he was so indignant about how this thing goes down. And if you actually like listen to factual arguments, it's like there is a lot of like, his point was actually really salient, but like the point of like Sam Harris of like the lack of due diligence, I think was, and Sam Harris would have been a far better counterpoint possibly than Douglas Murray, I would say, just because Douglas Murray is the expert, but Sam Harris is going to be a little more calculated and thoughtful about it. But like his point being like, if you just platform people who are not good people and or haven't done their research, and I agree with him on like the fact that like, on a lot of the stuff, but we don't need to go into like that specific part of it. But to your point about it, like, I hope that companies do more due diligence on this. I hope that, people are able to do proper research into who they work with and what they work with, or at least, I don't know, man. I just have this worry that like, like people like you and me care. There's a lot of people like who truly care, who are here to try to do things the right way. We had Funky on yesterday for Coffee with Captain. Funky's somebody who like loves the tech and loves working in this world. And like, people like Funky, I'm like, that's the person you want being involved in the future of this. It's just, I feel like the train might have left the station a little bit, where it's like, I don't know, like getting into like some of the news headlines, today, for example, SEC Chairman Paul Atkins is saying that, his top priority is a firm regulatory foundation for digital assets. That's good. That tells me that's positive. Cantor, run by the U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's son, is close to a $3 billion venture to create a multi-billion-dollar Bitcoin acquisition. Okay, good for our bags. It's kind of cool. But like at some point, like the conversations I've been having recently where people are like, yeah, like it's like I'm getting despondent with the space and other things. It's like, I like with some of the, like, again, founders and people who are like building things where they're like Web 2, but not Web 3 enough. It's like, I just feel like at some point the switch is going to flip, and we've done this like over financialization that's cost crypto mass adoption. And at some point, like the businesses are just going to do it their way, and we're just going to end up left behind. And I don't know, like this is how you end up with things like CBDCs. Like I don't feel good about that aspect of it. And I have this like fear, this long-term fear that like some of the people in the space who we respect, who have like really tried to push things forward, are going to be the ones who are left behind or leave or go do something else. And, income the businesses, and it's going to be the same 5 businesses that run everything. So I don't know, just like a dystopian thought I had as we see this with like the scammers and the grifters returning and all the people who are like messing around. I think it's just the indicative of some things that I'd love to see change. And like, I can only be the change I want to see as much as I can. And I do. And I realize at times with my airdrop farming and things, I'm quote unquote part of the problem. But I don't know. It's a thought I've been having recently about the people who are trying to make like changing technology. Like I think about like, I don't know. I actually don't want to get into specific examples with people because I don't want to talk about those who are like previously here and maybe have left. But like it is, I'm hoping that we see some of these people get washed out versus more glorified as we enter a bull market. And my worry is like we enter another bull market, these people come back. Although I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't necessarily think we're entering a bull market yet. So I guess like let me pivot from like the more existential conversation to that question. You know, do you think we are either in or entering a bull market, or do you think this is just a temporary reprise till 70 days from now and we're talking about tariffs again when that sort of 90-day discussion is up?
No, I think we're in a bull. I think if you zoom out, I think things just got overcooked at the election, and everyone thought it was going to be up only, which is just doesn't happen. I think we're in a bull, but I think it's going to be still remain incredibly volatile. It was volatile last Trump presidency. I think this one's going to be volatile to the nth degree this time. But yeah, I do think that. I mean, our guy FFE down there keeps posting like a year ago the Bitcoin price, or like it's just like we are up big, and we haven't had the raging bull in terms of, you know, NFTs. The meme bull came early. I don't know what it looks like from like an ongoing traders market as far as like new things coming online, whether it's NFTs or memes or, and I also don't know what it looks like with new active participants. But if you look at like the ETF inflows, like 900 million to the positive yesterday, like these are huge numbers. I just don't see the big nation state, the government stuff, the institutions. I don't see them going the other direction. And as things start to heat up, like that sort of buy pressure we haven't had previously. And yeah, I do think we are in the midst of a bull. It's just going to be a very volatile bull, would be my take.
Do you like, I guess like what I'm trying to like wrap my head around too related to the bull is like, are we only in a bull market based on what the president of the United States says at this point? Like the fact that he wasn't necessarily going to fire Powell and they might be lowering rates and suddenly like numbers are up. It's like, again, like I know we talked about decoupling. It's just, it's like, maybe it's a bull, but I think like to your point about like the volatility of it, my gut is ultimately we continue to go up and it's just not a straight line. And then it's a lot more chaotic and we make our way up there. It's hard when you're, I don't know. It's just, it's like hard to like look at and say like, it's just, I don't know. It feels different. It feels like less driven. I know people say like cynical people say, oh, it's driven by like market makers and things. And that's true to a degree. I don't know. Like, I think about like, we're sort of at the whim of like a couple of people and what they say. And it's a little bit, it feels, I don't know. And maybe it's always been this way. And it's closer to it now because it's actually front and center in the public eye. But I don't know. We got Glenn saying, we've been in a bull market since October 2023, the very beginning, and never left. Q1 was the drawdown that will leave many sidelines before the gigapump. Conservative Bitcoin target this cycle remains 180K and has never changed. Bookmark this tweet. So Glenn thinks we've been in a bull market since October 2023. And yeah, I guess it depends how you define bull. I think also like, I don't
think the bull's going to swing. I don't think the president makes the bull market, but I think the volatility is driven by that. Like, I think that's what's going to lead to just large short-term swings. But I think it's bigger. I mean, I don't know if we've talked about the new chairman of the SEC got sworn in, pro crypto guy, right?
Yeah, Paul Atkins is going to pro crypto guy. Actually, I have more on him in a little bit, but he has 70 crypto ETFs to review. Sol, XRP, Doge, Trump, Melania, and Pengu in there as well. So he has a lot of work to do. And he said, again, priority, he said, Paul Atkins said top priority is to provide a firm regulatory foundation for digital assets, which can go one of two ways, right? I mean, it could be positive for crypto. It could be CBDC type stuff. You just never know. Rare Ed is saying in the chat, I think Trump, Melania, Argentina, etc., are washing out are washing out, and things are going to start getting better with more serious investment inflows, longer term inflows, pensions, nation states, reserves, etc. I don't know, like Oklahoma just turned down the reserve, but didn't go to vote. But who knows? Maybe that will be the case. I don't know. Maybe I'm just skeptical. And do you think part of it is I am warped by the fact that I was involved in 2016, 2017 and saw rips. I was involved in 2020 and saw rips. Is it just that I'm so warped that a bull is only an absolute raging crazy bull, and therefore I'm like, this is more like a traditional stock market bull, which is like a little bit like less like stock markets? People are like, stocks are up 1.5% today. Watch out, things are ripping. And it's like, for us, we're like 1.5%. That's a rip for ants. Is it that? Am I too warped by that? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to get myself into the right mental state, because maybe I'm just not ready to be hurt again, and I'm trying to protect myself, but I just feel skeptical right now.
I mean, what do they call that? The disbelief portion of the cycle. Like, I haven't seen like the chart that's usually shared on CT every time there's a ripper day like this, or a down day, and half of CT will say we're at the bottom part of the cycle, the end of the bull. Others will say it's just getting started.
It's a great chart. It's the chart that basically is like, it's like basically people pick where we're at in that chart to say like whether we're like absolutely wrecked or we're going to be going to Valhalla. People like you're talking about the Bitcoin like chart that shows like the different like prices, and then people are like, you are here basically deciding on whether they're a bull or a bear. You talking about that one?
Yep. The psychological, the wall. I mean, it's predates crypto, but yeah, it's a favorite of CT. I haven't seen it floating around in the last 24 hours.
I'm sure somebody's going to put it up and put "we are here" and decide on you know, the fact that we're like, basically people like bet whether they're bullish or bearish, they pick to where we're at in the chart. Everybody knows the chart. You all know the chart, what we're talking about, I'm sure. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just I'm like optimistic. It's just I find myself increasingly skeptical about, like, I think that I'm just like probably cautious about with my feelings based on how we've been sort of hurt in the past, and I need to probably get over that and just be it's hard to be bull market Steve right now when I see some of the, you know, like on an up day, I'm like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop right now. I want to say Pengu's on a ripper too. I don't even check anymore, but that was another one. So memes are ripping as well, correct?
Yeah, well, specifically AI sector is up big. Pengu's up big. Yeah, I don't know what's different this week.
No idea. I couldn't tell you. It's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just, so I'm not trying to be like the bear case or whatever. I have a degree of skepticism related to the whole thing. And I don't know. And I also think, like, I don't know. I just think volatility is programmed, and it's just something we're going to have to ride the wave, but like more so than even normal right now. So that's sort of my worry a little bit. But you think we're like, so I guess, like, you think we're either back, or do you think we never left?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't know if October 23 is where my dates line up exactly, but yeah, I think we're just in a very volatile bull. I mean, I'm trying to pull some charts here, find the right one. I'm struggling, but I think we're in a, here it is. I think we're in a bull. We just haven't found, like, in 2017 it was ICOs. In 2021 it was NFTs. What is it really going to be this cycle? I don't know if we, like, everyone's, oh, it's going to be the meme super cycle. I don't know. Oh, it's going to be AI memes. I don't know. Maybe. So I think it was Dith put out a post recently about thinking the AI sector has another run in it. The first time that was just too early. There wasn't any real products. Now things have advanced significantly. I need to put some more thought to it, but I probably kind of side with that. I mean, I've been, of the two of us, certainly more bullish on productive AI agent tokens than you. Think's a good example. Like, they've been building for years and they just now minted. This is the chart we were referencing for those of you that are viewing the video. I don't know. Is it? I really, we're not euphoria. I feel pretty certain about that. That's about the only one. We're not complacent.
The worry part here is I have anxiety, so I'd be on the anxiety side. Sounds like a lot of people are on the hope side, which would be very positive if this is the case, because we would be on the hope side at the moment based on like what a lot of people are saying in the chat. So it's entirely possible. I see by the way, and I'll give some thoughts on AI coins in a second. I see Mr. Baywatch, awesome name by the way, in the chat saying Bitcoin is the safe haven for turbulence in the stock market. More people are seeing that now with Trump. Trade wars are bullish for Bitcoin. I appreciate the name. I disagree with the comment. I think if you Bitcoin is way more turbulent in the stock markets. Like, I don't think a traditional trader who gets freaked out by a 1-2% move is going to be like, you know what I want? You know where the safe haven is? That thing that dropped 10% in a matter of like a month. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that's the case yet. Like, I don't think it is this stability. I would say gold has a far better case at the moment with the way gold has been ripping comparatively. We say Bitcoin's digital gold, but gold is ripping, and Bitcoin was, at least until now, was pulling back a little bit. So I don't think it's the safe haven yet. Maybe it could be one day, though. I like the thesis, and I like the, I think A+ for the excitement around it. But I don't know that it's yet on that. I don't think it's a safe haven just yet.
I mean, Bitcoin's up 41% in the past year.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like this is not the best chart. Let me find a better chart. Great, exhilarating.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am the king of pulling up the old school charts. I am the king of pulling up the chart that's like, look, like, you know, we're yelling about Bitcoin. It's up 100% in a year. It's up blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, those numbers, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm not trying to just be Mr. Bull downer today. But like the chart, like, was up 150%. Then it was up 100%. Now it's up 50%, which is all great numbers compared to TradFi, beyond the shadow of a doubt. So I think we're, you know, in a pretty good scenario there. Don't get me wrong. I'm super believer in Bitcoin and whatnot. And we are ripped up from where we were. So, you know, it's just, yeah, like I don't think.
Look at chart leading up to election. Election hit here. We got the blow off top. And then I think everyone thought it was just going to continue to go up to the right. This was insane. You know, to go from like a 2x in a few months on an asset of this size, like, truly insane. Like, it just got really overcooked. And then so we had the pullback. This certainly generational buying opportunity, it seems like. And I mean, not that it's back to all-time highs, but dude, at this rate, we could be at 100K again by the end of the week. And so if we go back, what do you say, October of 23, you know, I mean, looks like a bottom to me. No, I mean, maybe you go back to December of 22, but that October of 23 call looks, price was 27K.
This is the challenge, though. I think like we need to like be intellectually honest about like where we're at in this, which is like, you know, you could be like, oh, well, if you zoom out far enough, Bitcoin's been in a bull since 2011. Like, I mean, we could do a lot of things with funky charts.
Zooming back in just to the past year, and all these, like, again, up 40% in the past year, but that's all come not in the past year. That's come since really November, really, since election day. So we're talking 6 months. It's up 40% in 6 months. That's insane.
Yeah, no, it's a big. I think I agree. I think it is a big move since then, and I think it's hard to know because I think part of it is it feels like this loss of control, which we probably never had, which is it does feel a little bit like where, you know, like we're at the mercy again. Maybe part of it is just my feeling that like we're at the mercy of like, you know, comments on tariffs tomorrow would send everything back into the shitter again. Right. And like, it just feels like we are more controlled by the number one KOL who is in charge of the country, which should always be the number one KOL in theory, but like, you know, we were defiant to headwinds before. Now it's like just depending on what the guy in charge says, it's like Orange Man decides the price a little bit. So I don't know. Like I'll
Here's the question: if we have been in the bull since October 23, or as Crypto G says, and it kind of lines up with that Bitcoin chart, potentially since late 2022, do we break out of the 4-year bull cycle? Like how much time do we have left?
I don't know. I'm not a believer in like traditional cycles with this sort of stuff. Like I know we like to do it, and I've done it before too, and we've done it on this show. My struggle with the traditional cycles is that every cycle has its own personality. Like Bitcoin coming into existence, people discovering and being able to get it accessibly, the Coinbase boom and the ICO boom, the NFT boom. Now we have regulatory environments coming.
So I think go back to that real quick. Sorry for the interjection, but that's I think what we are lacking so far. The ICO boom, the NFT boom. We kind of had a meme coin mania, but it really was mostly people here. I think a lot of people got in crypto, came to crypto when the ICOs were popping off. I think a lot of people came in crypto when NFTs were popping off. Now, did 90% of them eventually leave? Sure. But there's still net new users, Steve and myself, that become active participants. I just don't know as if we've had that moment this cycle where there's been a flood of new participants. I think that's kind of what's confusing. Like, where are we at in the cycle? Because where are all the new people? Where we've seen it historically, there's been a catalyst despite these prices. Is it for a while? You know, when we first crossed 100K, a lot of us were saying, okay, well, that was a big milestone. That was a major moment. But it really needs to distance itself from 100K before others say, okay, like at 100K, what am I buying here? Where's it going to go? At like 120, 130, 140. Now all of a sudden, targets become not 100K, but 250K or 180K. Like I don't know if that's it, that we just need more. It needs to break out of 100K, or I actually think it's more of like, you'll probably disagree with this, but I think it's still likely that it's going to be the AI and crypto intersection that is going to be the mass onboarder this cycle, not the meme coin mania. And I think we're close, but I think it's still pretty early in regards to productive AI and being on chain. Like really, like if that plays out like we think it's going to, everyone's going to be here, whether they choose to come or it just comes to them. And we're just not quite there yet, but I feel as if we're getting closer and closer to this AI meets crypto moment. That's the great onboarder of this cycle. To it be, and I said AI agents are going to be to 2025 as NFTs were to 2021. That has not come to fruition yet.
A lot of thoughts on this. One, is this cycle simply about the regulatory environment? Like, does it have to be about a new product, or can it just be about the regulatory environment? Can it just be about, you know, the adoption from traditional finance? Because that seems to be, you know, we got the Bitcoin ETF approved last year, but like, you know, is that just what this is? Is that what this cycle is about? Is this cycle just about that? So I don't think it necessarily needs a new product. I don't disagree with you on the AI intersection, sort of like meme coin or AI potential crypto intersection being a thing. My contention has long been, and I will continue to die on this hill, and I think I was proven right, is that a lot of these, and Bunchu agreed with me, by the way. Well, Bunchu on tomorrow again, finally, we'll double check that he can do it so that we can get him, you know, and that we should be set on it. But like, most of the AI, like, well, first of all, one, no, it won't be a meme coin super cycle. It shouldn't be a meme coin super cycle. It shouldn't be a content coin super cycle. It shouldn't be any of this. By the way, again, not going to go off on this one. I legitimately am miffed at Coinbase and Base being okay with, like, did you see the latest thing that happened from Jesse?
No.
Okay, so
I'm just muting. It's like I've stopped paying attention, and but no, I did not see.
There's so many good things potentially on there. I've never been more bearish on Base. So this didn't get a ton of run on Pio's tweet because I think he just got kind of buried in the algo. I'll show you a D's tweet about it in a second too. So basically, I can't even make it bigger in this thing. I'll try to make it bigger in a new tab and see if I can like zoom in on this. So to here we go. So basically, the TLDR, in his coin this, I think Jesse has like one apology a week at this point, and this should be probably the next one. So a guy made a meme with a random woman's Instagram photo, it appears, and he's pushing. He's like, one shoot chill makes a hilarious meme. Someone steals it and tries to profit off his creativity and pump and bundles it and doesn't even include the image. The original creator content coins it. Don't let people steal your creativity and profit off it. Support him by buying it here. This is not him. This is a random chick and said, do you want to go on chain, which is a weird joke that they made. Pio's commentary, look, I usually don't comment on this stuff or comment in this way, but this is literally one of the most out to lunch things I've seen in all my time in crypto Twitter. Like, holy shit, this is from a corporate employee representing his company, by the way. And I'll find the D's tweet on it in a second as well. But it's just, again, I won't spend.
How long do they let him go like this? Does this get Jesse fired?
They seem to be supporting it, but I just don't know.
I mean, there's two outcomes here. I don't think there's like, this is either like he comes like the world gets him on board and this becomes the greatest thing, or it's no one's talking about it and he just is eviscerated all of his social credibility in this space.
Yeah, D said, last week we had bases for pipping and squirting. This week we have Jesse saying taking a screenshot of a girl's dating profile and uploading it as a content coin akin to street photography.
So dumb. Like people knew what they want to do on chain, on the internet. Fine. Pio's point of this is a corporate employee of Coinbase.
I've never I know that they have some cool dApps there. I've never had less faith in the future of Base than I do on whatever the hell is happening here. Like, they really think, like, it feels like they are trying to force fit this new meta onto us that nobody buys. It's inorganic.
And then it's like gaslighting you if you're not on board.
Oh, yeah. The gaslighting was the craziest part, where he's like, I will never stop standing up for creators and builders on chain, despite what the crypto Twitter hive mind thinks. It's like, nobody is against innovate. First of again, I said this yesterday. False dichotomy to say either you support content coins or you don't like creators, right? Number one, and builders. And number two, I'm like, I find myself just lured by this concept that, like, he thinks people are mad at creators. It's like, no, people are reacting to the inorganic pre-TGE pump that you're putting on Zora right now. And I know Coinbase Ventures invested in Zora, so maybe that's coming from the top. I don't know. But it feels like I've never had less faith in Base, who I had the most faith in before. I said it before when I'm universities, companies, people in private chats, companies I advise. It's like, hey, chains. I'm like, look, like, Base has got Coinbase back. They're really strategic. They're trying to bring on real consumer dApps. They're spending a tremendous amount of time and energy on whatever the hell content coins are and acting indignant and like you're an idiot if you don't understand it. If you just don't understand it yet, it's like, I don't think everyone's too dense. I think we're calling it what it is. You're just trying to over financialize content and coin everything. And along the way, you're sharing incredibly cringe things. And I don't know how this ends. It's the weirdest hill to die on that I can recall in a while. And I don't.
Forced, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'm not a big guy who used the word cringe because I myself am cringy at times because I'm a dad and I do the dad thing. This is incredibly cringe. It's just so uncomfortable at the moment, and I don't know. So that's happening. But to get the train back on the tracks, I don't think it's content coins that brings people in. I don't think consumers want that product. I don't think it's a real product for people to play around with. That's going to bring mass adoption. Although they say consumers and brands are so excited about content coins, I don't buy it. I don't think most AI coins are going to be a good thing. I think there are going to be a lot of grifters who say, look, here's an AI coin with my AI deity I created. We talked about it with Mikey. And I've never been against the convergence of AI and crypto as it makes sense as a governance coin or as a token to interact. I'm not against it. I'm just not. I think we pretend in this space so much that, like, actually, this is a good part of the content coin conversation. It's not innovation. It's not innovative. It's not anything new. Telling people to create a low effort. This is no different than, I had a conversation with a very, very large brand when NFTs first came out. And an agency and the brand were like, you know what? We should take one of our tweets and make it an NFT and sell it in an auction for PR. And I'm like, Don't do that. That's scammy. That's grifter. You'll get called out. That is not what NFTs are about. And I explained the technology to them. They're like, but Jack Dorsey sold it. It's like, that's different. Number one. And number two, that was like early experimentation. Like, this is not something profound. When people do AI coins, when they're like, I created an AI agent that's like a really bad downgraded ChatGPT bot that lives on Twitter. Oh, there's a coin that goes along with it. That's not innovation. And we need to stop pretending it's innovation. We need to stop pretending like maybe there's like a living, breathing meme argument to be had, but I don't buy it. I know that arguments had to be made. So I don't disagree with you that AI could be something that really accelerates the cycle. But if it's I created a chatbot and have a coin behind it, then I'm not with that. I don't think that's it. And I think that would just be more of the same bullshit of a fake cycle that we're propping things up with. So could it be AI? Sure. Do I think it's going to be AI coins that are tied to like an AI like fake influencer? No, I don't. So that's I don't know. I don't see why can't this cycle just be the regulatory cycle? Like why can't it just be that? Like why do we need a new product?
Well, I guess we don't need a new product. I just think that if we're looking for a bull that we're like on par with 2021, 2022, I think the new products is what's going to bring the new people. I don't think people are going to get excited about regulatory. I don't think oh, great. Now the US government is issued a stable coin. Crypto's safe now. I can go ahead and start playing around with those NFTs or meme coins. I don't know as if the regulatory stuff moves the needle.
You don't think there's downstream effects there? Like, you don't think like we've seen Gary really active in the NFT world, and he specifically said during the last cycle that the regulatory environment limited what he can do. And I'll just say it because it's like a thing. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. I was at their office, at the VFriends office, and Gary made the comments about the uncertainty regulatory environment being a problem. Yeah. So, like, you don't think the downstream effects should do that?
It will. It's just a longer term thing. And I think that allows these builders here to ship new products, new things, new stuff that maybe they were concerned of whether they could or couldn't do in the past. I don't know if we've seen the new stuff yet. Yes, the regulatory environment is more favorable, but nothing's like it's heading towards more. It's more favorable because people aren't getting Wells notices, but I don't know if there's actually any new laws or regulations that actually has been put in play. It's just everyone feels, okay, we're not going to get targeted now. We're not going to get debanked now. I don't know that that's already necessarily led to, okay, great. And maybe these teams have been since election have started shipping or started working on shipping. I just don't know if we've seen that stuff necessarily come to market yet. Like, what is Gary going to do next? I don't know.
But why can't it be that? I guess is my question. Like, and I'm not like saying you're wrong, by the way. I'm just kind of like, this is more of a thought exercise. This isn't meant to be a debate. More so, why can't it be that? Like, why can't it be like the regulatory environment is free? So now Gary and other operators who are trying to do things 100% the right way are going to say, like, now we have the freedom to experiment. Like, why couldn't it be another NFT cycle?
Could. Well, and where I would lean if we get another NFT cycle, I think it'll be. I think it'll be, kind of like what we talked about yesterday with Think. Like, I think it'll be, and I'm not expecting any sort of profit share or rev share or equity stake or anything like that. But we talked about, I think, like, I have equity in rec brands and rec drinks. I think we'll see more of that. I think we could see NFTs as an actual, the vision I had in 2021, I know it was the other one, but like, this was like the next generation Kickstarter, a way for entrepreneurs to launch ideas, to take an idea from ideation to product launch and do so without having to go secure bank funding or angel funding or VC funding, and not just another way to, accrue, to secure capital, but also a way to, while securing that capital, to build a army of early brand ambassadors. Like, it seems like an amazing way to build a business if those earliest supporters could participate in the upside, could win big when the brand wins big. And we've seen some now that have done it, in the sense of those that I mentioned that I'm aware of: Wrecked, Goblin Town, and the Plague. but all of them had to do so like after the fact. It had to be like a surprise. I'm hopeful that with new regulation, we see it as not a surprise. Like, hey, here's what we're doing. This mint is 0.1 ETH, and everyone who mints is going to get not just allocation of tokens, but we're going to give 20% of the revenue stream of our B2B business to our holders in the form of a dividend per perpetuity. Like, why? Like, I know why that can't happen today like that, but that's kind of like, I'm hopeful we get into a regulatory environment where that's possible. And I know there is a lot of talk about redoing the accredited investor rules, or maybe there's a test to where, there's a lot of people that haven't made 250 grand a year or 200 grand a year, or don't have $1 million net worth, but they're savvy and they're capable to invest their own money into these startups and participate in the upside. They're just prohibited from doing that in a public environment today. I'm hopeful. I think that could be part of how regulatory forward movement wins this cycle, or is the theme of this cycle, is because it opens up, it starts allowing for more actual investing in these early ideas, these early businesses, these early on-chain products and services.
Yeah, I would love to see that, where it's like, okay, so there's that sparks a lot of thoughts. I love that. I love those. I love that like tee off that you said, because I think that is a good example of almost like both of what we're saying put together, which is, can the regulatory environment make it more favorable? Can we get into those early investment type rounds where people like you and me aren't necessarily saying, look, you invest in something, you want the price to go up, right? Like if you're an investor in an early IPO, if you're an investor in a stock, you want the price of that to go up. But like, it's not the demand that it needs to go up tomorrow the way it is with like token holders and stuff like that. The idea that people like you and me might have more access to do things like that. Like I even thought as you were talking, like imagine a better investment for fractionalized sales of items the way Rally Road and others do it, but like in the blockchain. So like I think about like Punk's Comics today. It was a risky proposition back in whenever it dropped, right, in 2021. Idea of like owning fractional shares of Van Goghs and fractional shares. And I know there's ways to do it now that are, through all these like third party, but being able to just do that in the blockchain and have it on the open market, and knowing that the price is going up at any given time, again, similar to what Rally Road does, but doing it fully on chain, that's interesting to me. And I think like, to your point, there's the early investment in a company where, we had the Wolves DAO on here recently talking about, it's like, look, you basically go through a process like you do when you freaking join a country and get a visa, where you have to go through all these like tests and discussions and all. It's like Wolves DAO gives you a soulbound token at the end of that, and now you're part of it. It's like could have those sort of like tee-ups with you and discussions, and you could buy an NFT to be part of it, and like you could eventually get like some sort of like there's so many ways to play around with that idea. I just hope that it's not the when number go up tomorrow discussion, because I do think there's a lot of innovation to be had there, and a lot of really good, interesting, true uses of the blockchain in that way that can be financial, but can also be positive in moving forward as things continue to go on chain. So I don't know. I just think like that idea of the regulatory environment being the story of the cycle and being the catalyst, like I don't think people get excited about laws or Atkins. I think they get excited about what, like out of nowhere. Like I said this the other day in a tweet. Gary is swooping in to say, hey, if you're broken, we got a home for you. We built a brand. We spent years building a brand. We didn't get credit for the onboarding. We have a home for you, and we're pushing hard. A few of these, like, if you're a major NFT brand right now, capture the flag. Like, now is the time, I think, right? Like to your collections, like if you're a Zuki, beans are affordable right now for most people, right? I know that they're not cheap for the average human being to be like, hey, that's a couple of dinners out, but like beans are affordable. I think quarter of an ETH to get you an elemental right now. And OG Azukis, I don't remember what they are. They're a little bit higher, but it's like, capture the flag, y'all. Like, go get the audience. There's never been a better time, because things are now favorable where you could play around and do some things like build and strengthen those communities. So maybe we see a comeback or some new ones emerge, like the Good Vibes Club of the world, maybe Final Bossu. But I think now is a good time. That said, let me hit more you know, because I hit more you know. It's relevant. We've been dancing around some of the topics of it this morning. Let's hit more you know, and then we'll keep moving from there.
The more you know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the more you know, brought to you by ENS. And we've mentioned the name Paul Atkins a couple of times this morning. He is back in the spotlight as the newly appointed chairman of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, otherwise known as the SEC. He's got that SEC speed cap. A familiar face in financial regulation, Atkins served as the SEC commissioner from 2002 to 2008, and he spent decades pushing for transparency, market integrity, and smarter regulation. He also founded Potomac Global Partners, a regulatory consultancy, and is advised on financial reform both domestically and abroad. Now, as chair, Atkins is turning his focus to digital assets. He's emphasized the need for firm regulatory foundation to support crypto innovation while maintaining investor protections, a stance that's already resonating with the industry. Chris Dixon, the founder of A16Z Crypto, called Atkins' appointment a huge opportunity to accelerate progress and allow crypto to thrive in the U.S., signaling optimism for one of the most influential voices in Web3. With Atkins at the helm, the SEC may finally move towards a more rational and innovation-friendly approach to blockchain and digital assets. In case you're wondering if ChatGPT or AI writes my reads, that last line is not something that an AI would write. With Atkins at the helm, the SEC may finally move toward a more rational and innovation-friendly approach to blockchain and digital assets. That's how I roll. ENS does more than you know. Brought to you by ENS. ENS does more than you know. Not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring it across the internet. It's your identity. Simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domains to learn more and secure your ENS domain. And Cap, one other worthwhile thing you talk about noting the bottom. We won't go deep on this one. The other day we were kind of capitulating and being like, is Bitcoin the only place to put it? Everything's going down. And Johnny Saskatchewan took a victory lap in our abstract chat, only to see that was the absolute bottom. And since then, NFTs, meme coins, ETH, everything else has gone up. So you want to talk about the real bottom signal? It was dancing on the graves of us when we were saying, like, look, I don't know what we're going to. I've stabled some money. Do we want to So I think I think that was another interesting bottom signal we had as well, was the victory lap of Bitcoin's the only thing. You guys are finally starting to realize it. And as soon as we realized it, by the way, didn't make tons of crazy moves. Here we are. So good news, Cap.
Yeah, I more so than the price action, it feels like momentum's coming back. It's not just one, it's not just Good Vibes Club, it's not just Final Bossu, like it's not just Think. It's like there's less than during Mania, but what has been coming to market has been well received. Mint stores, free mint. It's trading at 458. Like, it feels like some momentum is coming back. The quality over quantity is very important. I hope we continue to see high effort stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I think hopefully that's the meta. Hopefully you have to work a little harder this cycle than just drop a derivative and make it work. Because even to your point, like the miniatures mint, I saw a lot of people who were like clowning the art or whatever on the pixel art and that. Like, and I get it, like, if you look at it at a glance, but like to me, what's exciting about it was exactly what you said. Like, I struggled with shadows yesterday. I still think we have a long way to go with the tech because an average person isn't using shadows. But the idea of like, you know, a shadow token or soulbound NFT that you can use as, you know, portability or a high value asset you can use for portability, I should say, not soulbound, is really cool. And the site was cool. It was updating in real time. It had up like what James just did was experiment on ApeChain with different engineering mechanics to try and think of how, if they want to do something with a major brand, if they want to do so, you know, they work with BMW, like that's a brand that they already work with. Like, what if they want to do something like that with BMW? What if they want to do something like that with Adidas? Like, they have these existing partnerships that are really great, or Bape or whoever. They're giving themselves the ability to potentially do that. So I think, like that experimentation, it goes a little bit along with, actually people using their real products. Kind of a hard pivot, but did you see this whole streamer thing that happened yesterday, by the way?
I don't think so, no.
So yesterday, there was a, I'll pull up my tweet on it just because I put a tweet out this morning on it yesterday. And by the way, if anybody wants to attend and tip me $12,000, I will not say no on my stream. Don't do it tomorrow. Do it today. No, actually, honestly, if I got a $12,000 tip cap, I would, like, we kind of just do our own thing where Cap and I, like, behind the scenes, we're just like, whatever. It all comes out in the wash. Sometimes you get tips. Sometimes I get big tips. If I got a $12,000 tip on a coffee with Captain, I would split that with the company. Like, that is not a you, me, and Payne would all eat on it. But yesterday, Abstract said, breaking, a streamer got a 6.9 ETH tip, the equivalent of $11,710, making it the largest single tip on Abstract. Someone quote tweeted, streamer, bro, that's your team member. Some people said that it was a marketing ploy, a marketing campaign. My tweet was, seeing people imply this $12,000 tip was a marketing stunt by Abstract Chain because the receiving streamer works there. I don't think it's rigged. 2, if they wanted to rig a large tip, do you really think Luca Detz, Michael Lee, and the really smart Abstract team, who is one of the savviest marketing teams in the group, would say, yeah, let's do it to a team member? That's not too on the nose. And then I said 3, and this kind of gets to what you were saying earlier with James Hall and Yuga. It's good the team uses their products. All teams should be users of their own products to understand how they work. So I think James is doing a little bit of that. So number 1, that. Number 2, here's a hot take. If this streaming platform existed 4 years ago, a lot of streamers and creators would still be around and they would be very wealthy, because when money is abundant, people would be tipping ETH left and right. People would be tipping NFTs. Like, if we hit a bull market, I think there's a chance that the money in this space and the people in this space take care of themselves. And a lot of the streamers are going to do well because, do you think, or am I crazy to think, if this sort of streaming existed, and tipping existed?
Well, yes, answer is yes, because we've seen it happen in other industries. Like, I come from DFS, and dude, like, the DFS content creators, they get super chats on YouTube. It's like $100 a pop almost every stream. Think about it. Someone's watching, they take their advice, they build a lineup, they hit for 20K. You don't think they're coming back the next day and tipping that person? So same thing here. When things are up only and people are printing, it's when people are making money off of takes that others are giving, like, there is a real circular economy there. And yeah, I haven't seen any numbers, but that's worked in, I know there's Twitch and others as well, but I've seen it in the YouTube super chats since it's existed. And while that is more individual result driven, this, I think it certainly not only could carry into this space, I just think it's to the 10th degree, because, you have a good take. It's likely that more than one individual is going to hit on that. And sure, more than one listener usually has a decent night too, on a DFS stream, but it's like one person's winning the Millie Maker this week. You have a good take. It could be dozens, hundreds of individuals that are tuning in that could also, anyone who tuned in Minute Good Vibes Club, that's a big W. And this isn't please, we're not soliciting tips because we had on the Good Vibes team. My point is, though, to your point, in 2021, there was a mint like that happening every day. Like, every day you're talking about somebody, hey, here's the thing that's going to do to 10x tonight. And yeah, I do think a lot of that money stays in the ecosystem or becomes more circular in that, in that up only type market.
Yeah, I think about that and I'm like, man, like 2021 would have been a time to eat when things were cooking. And I wonder if that happens if we do continue to see upward momentum in this space. I don't know. I hope so. For the fact that, but yeah, I thought about this and I'm like, man, if this existed 4 years ago, people in this space would have eaten. They would have been really, really good. And so
I have an even hotter take.
Go. Let's do it.
So I know, like, talking to abstract streamers, I know we're not in the mode of giving compliments to base, and this won't be base driven, but I did participate in the Zed beta. I bred my first couple horses. I just saw this morning, like, I like the format, how they're doing it. One of the ones I bred won its first race. It's back. Like, it was fun. It was exciting. Like, I had that feeling that made me fall in love with the potential of on-chain gaming in 2021. It's back. And it's really hard what they're doing to make it sustainable, to have it, supply not to flood the market, to keep a game like that going to where you can still accessible for someone new, but yet, the whales feel it's still profitable. Like, it's really, really difficult. I don't know if they'll do it or not. But how the gameplay set up, like I really enjoyed it. It was easy. It's not a time it's not a time suck. It's not extremely time consuming, but yet it is still loaded with strategy and game theory, and it's fun. It's really fun for me. So I'm rooting. I didn't get my thread out yesterday. I need to get it out. The cutoff is today. I need to look what time. So Zed post coming, as long as I haven't missed it yet. And that the take is like, when we start seeing more, like, I know there's games. It's not knocking any of the games on Abstract today. I just feel most of them are of like the more of the passive variety. And I know I just described Zed as a passive game, but like we were talking about the productions that we saw last, 2021, 2022, extremely high quality. You can't tell me, I think Sean was the guy's name who did that Derby Dash or whatever it was called in Vegas that High Horse Stables won. Like, I don't think he got any tips that day, unless someone sent him something off, just, hey, what's your wallet address? Can't tell me if he's streaming that show on Abstract, he's not earning, I don't know, several hundred, maybe thousands of dollars in tips that day. Like, I think more, once the on-chain games are akin to the games that streamers stream, I think that could be the unlock. That could be there is a potential where, I said this intersection of AI and crypto. What if it is the intersection of on-chain gaming and streaming that doesn't take a 30% tax? There's something there. There's a massive market. I don't know how big that market is, but it's massive. It's potentially bigger than the entire crypto gaming industry today. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's only going to be Abstract. Like, I'm excited for Ovi. They're another streaming platform that's doing some stuff with Ape Chain and more similar to like StreamYard that we're using today. But this idea of streaming and not paying 30 to 50% of that tip to a streaming platform seems like a good thing. Seems like it could be a really big onboarder. Like, maybe that's the product, is more fair and equitable streaming economics.
Yes, I think that's definitely possible. Actually, it's funny you talk about that aspect of it. So, because really, there's a couple categories of gaming. By the way, I'm now like, I don't know if you've played NCAA Online. As a side note, I actually thought about it, and as I thought about it, I don't want to get into it right now. And then I thought about, I'm digging baseball. Maybe I download the show and play some online there. And then I went back to like, maybe I just do OOTP because I enjoy the streaming more than the playing element, or the simulation more than the playing. I haven't done anything yet, but I'm close. And honestly, if I've mentioned OOT baseball, like maybe the best sports simulation game of all time, they've been running for like 25 years, is just super nerdy, super, super nerdy. If they incorporated NFTs, and I actually sent them a cool message in 2021, it's like, listen, you guys got to implement NFTs in this. I never heard back. I would start doing it. Like, I think there's definitely something there. And then going back to like, maybe we're just still so early from the product's close, but not quite there. The regulatory environment's heading the right direction, but not quite there. Maybe this is it. Maybe we just need a little more time. Maybe we just need a little more time to let the powers that be cook, and then these dots that we've essentially connected in our heads can actually come to market. Yeah, because like the thing about the streaming games, like, you go to the Abstract thing. The reason I brought it up in NCAA, which by the way, I'm now on the, I think they have put me up to All-American division at this point, and I don't think I'm good enough, but yet I'm like 49 and like 6, and I've like won. I'm like 5-1 in the All-American division. I got really upset yesterday at a game I lost. My daughter and her friends actually know that they hear me yelling. They hear me motherfucking from the other room when I'm playing, which is amazing. Like, they basically hear that, like, when they're like, like there was dead silence on a call with her and all her friends. They all hear it's like, motherfucker. Like, no, can't believe. Anyway, there's two types of kind of games that you look at, and the ones on abstracts I think are not conducive to streaming, to your point. Zed is. Like, Zed is conducive to streaming. Like, I brought up NCAA specifically because, like, NCAA, sort of, games like Halo, Counter-Strike, whatever, like, those are conducive to streaming. They're more involved. They're not mostly for me. Abstract has one type of audience, which is this quick, easy play, quick game. Go scratch some gotcha tickets. Go play Gigaverse for 10 minutes. NCAA is like 3-minute quarters. So that's probably like I know it's 12. So probably each game is about 20 minutes or so, right? 20, 25 minutes with all the stop and breaks. You're talking about Zed, which I think Zed is conducive to streaming. I have a question about Zed, kind of off topic, but I'll get back to the streaming piece. But why does Zed not just have an NCAA-like mechanic where you can just breed and play around and play the horse game agnostic of racing and gambling against other people? Like, why don't they just have that? Like, why don't they just have, like, feed and train your horses, level up, like, play your thing. Oh, you want to play online for actual money? You can do that too. Like, why does that not exist?
You mean more of like just like casual?
Like, why can't I log on to Zed, feed some horses, train some horses? I know that's not part of the game right now. I'm implying it could be. And then I race in a track against fictitious people that aren't for actual gambling money and actually play a game like that. And then I can go play online with the stable if I really want to. Like, I don't get why they don't have a passive game on top of just the active game. Because when you talk about what brings people into usage, I don't think everyone wants to gamble and just buy and sell and breed horses and see how they run.
I don't know. I hear you, but I don't see it as a sticky game without the gambling component.
Would you play NCAA if it had nothing to do with if you could only play online against other people? Like, you played several seasons and won Heismans and all that stuff. You love doing it for a period of time. Would you play that game if your only option was to play online against other people?
Probably not.
And it costs money, let alone. So you'd be like, all right, I'm out. So why don't you think it would be a sticky game? Because I think it would be.
Because that was a game I enjoy. Because it's a much more active game. With
Why couldn't Zed be active the same way?
I don't know. It just maybe it could be for some people. For me, it just doesn't do it for me without the gambling component. Like, part of the game theory is I'm building something. I'm using strategy to create a winner. Well, winning a college football game and that, like, the war, like, it's just.
So why did you enjoy NCAA then, I guess? Because there wasn't a gambling aspect. You were just playing a game. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, and I understand, like, your mental model as it relates to Zed and your mental model as somebody who plays DFS and all these other things.
I'm very, like, I don't, like, it's also, like, the only video game I played in the last decade that and Fortnite are the only two games I played that wasn't money on the line. I really just, it's so, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because I just don't do that. I just don't play games casually.
So step out of your own.
So, like, NCAA football was more of, I'm sure there was a nostalgia piece to it. It was something I enjoyed in my childhood, and it was gone for decades. And it just came back, and it was fun to tap into that. But even, like, when I thought about it this week, I'm like, nah, I don't want to blow an hour playing a game because there was no chance of a financial reward if I did well. Whereas with Zed, if I win, I'm winning. Even I mentioned, like, the sim games. I put money on those. Like, you'd be $100 buy-in, and if I won, I actually won. Like,
it's a slot machine, right? It's like a slot machine type deal, but with horses, because you're basically putting money on a sim. Is that how, like?
Not exactly, because there is actually strategy and game theory. It's not just a blind pull of the thing. Like,
so more like DFS, actually, which is your wheelhouse. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to.
No, it's just like, that's just me personally. If I'm spending time on a game, I want there to be some sort of potential financial work. I'm okay if I lose. It's much more enjoyable for me to have a sweat on something.
I also think, like,
when I say I'm a degenerate gambler, I'm a degenerate gambler, and I enjoy it. Like, it actually, what was I talking about yesterday? Like, it doesn't take much. Oh, it was the Think Mint. Congratulations, by the way, you beat me. That was exciting for me. That was the closest thing we've gotten to a gas war since 2021, like, or 2022. Like and it was because you got a few extra think tokens if you got an early, serial number. So like even that little bit of like, oh, I want to win this race. I want to get an early token so I can get more think tokens. That was fun. It doesn't take much for me to get the dopamine, for me to, but it does take something usually. Even if it's not like the baseball sim games I would play, and then I draft and I build this team and I'd spend 3 minutes every morning putting my setting my lineup. Like that, if you I won, like I was very good at the game. If I actually divided the amount of winnings by dollar per hour, it's not even close to minimum wage. It's like if I put in 100 and it goes for a few seasons and I pull out 200, like I don't even like, it's not about the money, but it is. Is that making any sense at all? My brain's just broken, and I know who I am, and I'm okay leaning into my broken brain that has been skewed by. I'm not going to blame DFS, but it's somewhere along the way. I need some skin in the game to make it enjoyable for me.
I don't think you're a degenerate gambler. I think you're a responsible gambler, actually, because you don't get yourself into situations where it's going to affect your like it's not like you're like, I can't do coffee with Captain this morning because I got to make it all back.
You're right. So I'm not degenerate in the sense I'm going to go put my mortgage on the line on roulette, but my fun bucket of money, you better believe, like, that's for it to be fun, it needs to have a sweat.
Well, I guess like part of what I was saying with the Zed option is take yourself out of your. It's funny because when I was like, oh, so it's like a slot machine on Sims, you could have been like, well, for you it might be a slot machine, and that's why I make money. But the just like DFS, because DFS is like a slot machine for me. I'm like, oh, let's go Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, great. Like Mesh says, I'm neither a gambler nor gamble. I'm neither a gamer nor gambler, so none of this GameFi or GambleFi stuff is for me. I guess like my point being, like, if you look at games that are successful, like NCAA, you played just because you want to shut off your brain. There was nostalgia, there was an escape. You played several seasons. And you even said, like, I don't even necessarily want to step up in difficulty because I like just throwing up numbies and actually winning Heismans and stuff, which I did too. I loved blowing out teams. My thought on Zed is this. It's like, why couldn't they have an actual game that you could play without having to gamble, without having to go against other people, where you earn things and then, like, hey, you level up and you work overtime to, get a horse or aesthetics or things.
I mean, that's how they set up this new game. Like, you can, like, anyone, like, you could go. I don't want to say this for sure, but I believe, like, I don't think there's many doing it. If you go do a little bit of research, put out a Zed post today, you're probably going to get one of those badges. You're probably going to get a starter horse. I don't know the exact mechanics once the game is live, like someone new, but I'm near certain that someone new coming in is casual. They just want to play. They'll be able to log in with an email and just jump in the game and play casually, but yet without the opportunity to flood the market with breeding a bunch of donkeys that are like, I think we will have. Carolyn from Zed reached out. I think we will get Near and the leadership team on to join us for a space sometime, because I haven't followed all the specifics of it to a T. But I believe what you're describing, that ability to log in, simple sign on with an email, and just play a fun, casual game. I'm pretty sure that's baked into the new game, while also looking to have a game that's still fun for the whales or those that want to view it as a profit, endeavor for them.
But I think okay, so like in Gigaverse, when you play Gigaverse, you can like random. There's a random chance that there's going to be like gear that pops up when you're fighting guys, and then that gear can be upgraded to give you, sort of advantages in battle. I guess what I'm thinking is, like, why couldn't I just like play? You talk about the multiple ways to play in the last set, the breeding game, the racing game, all different things. Like, if there's a casual game that you can play without ever racing real people online, similar to like the NCAA season where you never play a single person online, and it would take a lot of work and time and maybe some luck, but you could get rare aesthetics. You could get rare items that improved your horse's ability. You could, level up your horse, and it would take a really long time to make good. And then those people could then sell those assets down the line. Maybe they're all aesthetics. I don't know. But like, I guess when I think about like the masses and the groups of people you're trying to bring on, an only financialized horse racing game is not going to appeal to people because most people, like, I mean, I played casually until it got too confusing, but most people don't want to throw like $5, $10 on a race they're going to lose every single time. And after a few losses, they're going to get upset about it. But I think people would be interested in a horse racing game where it's like, hey, you play, it's fun, it's a beautiful game, it's interesting. And along the way, you could potentially earn these things you actually own, and you might be able to sell them for some money. Like you find somebody who's like, yeah, I just played this game and then I sold this thing for $27. That's a big deal to someone. Even though in our space, we have a warped view of money where when, NFTs get to be $500,000, people are like, oh, it's not life-changing money, so I'm not selling, which me, by the way, I'm talking about me, which was not saying it was dumb. I'm happy I held my Bored Ape Yacht Club, but like my Gutter Cat gang being like, oh, it's 10 ETH. It's not life-changing money. It's only $35,000, $40,000. Like end up selling it for like $1,000 at ETH or whatever. But like point being, like there are people who like normal people will say, I made $27 playing a skin in a game that I played for that long. It's like for free. Like that's how, like, I don't think that we think of the normie game loops very often when we're building on-chain games. I think we build sometimes for the people here. I'm not saying Zed is doing this specifically, but I think the idea that you could build, like, that's why I think Gigaverse is interesting. Like, and I'm not saying Gigaverse is some big groundbreaking game. It's like, fancy game theory, rock, paper, scissors with a little bit of strategy to it. But like, I can win gear. I can buy gear. I can craft potions. I can sell those potions. I could use those potions. Potions cost me 98 cents. I could buy them. And they take a little platform fee. Like, there's these things that are like very Candy Crush-like about it that make it so that, yes, this could work. I think with something like Zed, like a casual game, which I know is a whole build that maybe rewards you in the open market occasionally. If like people are like, yeah, I made $10, like, yeah, there are people who are going to make more money grinding it. But like, I think we sometimes like look at like Web3 game loops instead of normal game loops. And, I think sometimes we lose it because it goes back to my over financialized point, I guess, where it's like everything has to be financialized. Everything has to be this. Everything has to be gambling. It's like if you're trying to build a game that is going to scale outside of Web3, you need it to be a fun game that is not all about gambling. But the Web3 element allows you to add in the ability to make a little bit of money here and there at no cost to you because you mint an NFT and you take a platform fee. Like,
this is the biggest challenge, though, to do that. Like, that's what you describe. I agree. It's just very hard because the people that aren't here, they want the free, fun, casual game. They can come in. The people that are here, I'm not logging in if there's no chance to make money. Like, it is a really difficult dichotomy.
But I think you could have both. I guess that's my point. Is like you could have the ability for you to gamble on one end, and that's sort of like if you want to play online, and you could have various levels of that. And then you have another game offline where it's like, after 100 races, you get this badge. And after, 100 races, you have a 1% chance of popping this rare aesthetic item that people might want to show to flex their Zed. Like, there's so many things that you could do with an offline game where you could even have advantages of playing offline to drive transactions, to drive people playing, and have those advantages of like, look, you play online and gamble, but if you want the aesthetics, you want to flex that you're an OG, you need to play offline together. Like, there's so many dynamics that I think you could introduce and I'm not saying it's easy. It's very, 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 very hard. It is easy for me to say, but I just think sometimes like building for the people here is not the product that is going to scale. And Zed has so much scalability. So I'm thinking in my head, like, how would you scale this so that my kids can play casually and my son can be like, well, shit, I played around on Zed. I did the horse racing thing. I got this rare skin that's desirable that there's only like 10 that exist of, and someone paid me $100 for it. And now my son has $100, which he thinks makes him rich. Like, those things are really, really possible. And I guess that's like the piece that I think sometimes we're missing in this gaming. Like, not to bring it back to VeeFriends, but VeeFriends builds a brand for people outside of this space, and then people inside this space also have elements of it. Like, I think that makes a huge difference. God, that game's so beautiful. It's such a good looking game.
Here, and you talk about like augments and skins, like beyond skins, some of the stuff. And I'm excited to get to Remy here next. Remy is a game or also an OG Zed or. And I'm curious to hear his thoughts on this. But you can see here, like this is the one that just won the first race. It's got another one scheduled today, and it's got these three augments. So boost of 1.5 when 6 meters behind adjacent horse, duration for 5 seconds. Strong speed boost the final quarter of the race. Minor speed boost for the entire race, and you've got these are things that you can upgrade. You swap them in and out. You could sell these things. Like, they've done a good job of building more than like last iteration. It was really just skins and it was purely aesthetics. Whereas this time the augments actually are going to, it's the strategy. This is the game theory and the strategy involved. And yeah, this is, you can see.
Now imagine the only way you could get that stuff. I promise Remy. Oh, we lost Remy. I was going to say, I'll bring Remy in a second. Now imagine you could only get those by playing an offline game where you learn about the game, the dynamics of it, you play, you engage, and you can grind and get different upgrades and things, whether you earn them, whether they're randomized, whatever it is. And then you could sell those to other people. I don't know. Like, that to me is interesting, where it's like you could play an offline game that you don't have to gamble, that you don't have to race, and you could win things like that you could then sell on the open market, and along with aesthetics and other things. Like, that to me is interesting. And that's, I think, the thing that I'm trying to get across is, like, you could have both, you could let, like, both of those things could happen. And I think that's, again, I'm not a gaming expert, and I'm sure gaming experts will correct me, because there's different types of games and things, but, like, the same thing that gets you playing offline games and online games, but introducing a Web3 element to that, like, I think there might be some legs to that if it was introduced. But I don't know. Why are the horses on fire, out of curiosity?
I'm guessing that's one of the, I'm guessing it's showing one of the augments.
It's highly frowned upon to cremate a horse live on a race. It seems a little premature. Usually they bring out the tarp. That's a little bit much.
Big, I mean, won by a good amount here. Good W for the Adventurous Opal. Good start to the racing career.
Yeah. The Adventurous Opal, is that the new V friend? All right. I'm going to bring in Remy here in a second. We're going to see if Mesh says they're farting. Going to bring in Remy here. He's spinning, so hopefully he's connecting. Trying to keep an eye on him as we go. But I know that X is being a titch ruggy at the moment as well. Not just with that, but with some notifications and some other things. So X has been actually quite ruggy for a little bit here. But hopefully Remy can get back up here. But I don't know. I guess my point is, like, the TLDR is build a good Web 2 product that also can exist with Web 3 elements, like, is kind of the way to do it. So I don't know. By the way, Mr. Baywatch, who's watching, is funny. I don't know if you see this. Mr. Baywatch says, I was complimenting the name, and Mr. Baywatch says, my great-grandfather, Mr. Baywatch, I fought for his name. I'm proud to hear this coming from you, Steve K. Bark. So Mr. Baywatch has the my type of sense of humor here. Enjoying that.
Remy, maybe leave the room and come back. We'll attempt again to get you up here. It was spinning and we lost you. But yeah, maybe bounce, come back, and we'll try again. While we wait to get Remy up here, Steve, somehow we haven't mentioned, like, with everything green and pumping, my Pingu bag just keeps, my abstract global wallet keeps increasing. Pingu up 33% on the day. You didn't sell the bottom, did you?
I have not sold. I mean, the only thing I've done with Pingu is when we get tips, I oftentimes convince them to convert them to USDC, just because I'm trying to be a responsible human being. But yeah, my Pingu bag, I'm looking at my Pingu bag right now, and it's still like a third of what it was when I converted over to abstract. So it's hard for me because maybe it's just me being like paying attention to what the number was, and I should just be happy with the little pump. But it's like I think it's roughly 1/3 of when abstract launched and when I converted, like, the Pingu over to get that little bonus for my points each week. While we pull up Remy, by the way, how'd your abstract points go this week?
On par with past weeks. Like, I'm running like 7,000-8,000 a week, and it's fine. I get the alpha. You're right. It is holding NFTs. I need to go over and pick up some NFTs. The Sugartown Aura thing is happening. I think I got unbanned, so I think I have something coming there, but I'm not really sure. Probably should have Camel on and see what's going on there. But yeah, I need to get some abstract NFT, because that seems like to be the easiest boost is having some NFTs in your wallet now.
Yeah, if people are looking for the alpha, I'm not telling people to, not financial advice. Don't buy anything. Mesh stuck at 4K weekly. Mesh, I got about 20K this week again. I have gotten consistently. I'm going to see if I can actually share my rewards tab without showing my global wallet or anything like that. See what this looks like. But the alpha, long story short, is all right. Here, I'll show kind of my past few weeks. So I'm going to share on screen here in a sec. Thank you, Ray Red, by the way. Appreciate the tip. Very friendly and helpful. So I tend to get each badge, so I get all the badges. So I do those. Those usually cost, like the Road Tracer one, I think cost 70 cents to get the badge. You had to do a couple things there. So I did 17K, 17K, 20K, 19K, 20K. What I've done is I have effectively Rare Ed's the man. Oh, Mr. Baywatch coming through big. Appreciate you very much. Apparently, flattery does work with Mr. Baywatch if you want to get the tips. Appreciate you very much though, and appreciate your sense of humor. Truly, that wasn't like pandering. It was you have made me laugh multiple times this morning, which I appreciate. All right, so my NFTs, I got one of these like weed guys. I thought he was kind of chill. I have a Bearish, I have a Ryu, I have an On-Chain Hero Genesis, and a couple of Gigaroms. Like that is the stack of the NFTs I hold, I believe. I don't think I hold anything else, right? Sharing that because what I noticed was I was getting similar to Cap, 7,000, 8,000, maybe a little bit more here and there for some participation. I was spending money on the platform. I literally check Myriad every day, load that. And we'll get Remy in here in a second. So Remy, just stay put. Don't move a pinky. You look like you're good. I do Myriad every day. And I hold those NFTs. And since holding those NFTs, I've just noticed that holding NFTs is the alpha. So I'm not telling anybody to go buy NFTs or doing anything. Those are the NFTs I own. Those NFTs are in my global wallet. Not my, ETH wallet, whatever. They're in my abstract global wallet. And since I've been holding those NFTs, I have actually experimented because I like to test and move different variables around. I have done more activity, less activity. The only constant variable, as my points have stayed the same, is the NFTs. There are times that I've spent way more money on the platform. There are times I spent way less money on the platforms. There are times I spent no money on the platform. All of those consistently have given me between 17 and 20K since I got those NFTs. Prior to those NFTs, no. Now I get a little boost from streaming, as Kat mentioned. So it's probably like 10 to 13K boost in points since I started because of from the NFTs, because I probably get a 5 to 7K boost from streaming. But just throwing it out there that if you're trying to boost your numbers, that seems to be the alpha, is holding NFTs. And by the way, Lucas said that on our show. He said, we'll reward people who hold our NFTs on our platform. Of course we should. And I can't remember if I mentioned I had the final Basu, but I have that one as well. Let's go ahead and get Remy in here. Remy, I think we got you. GM, you had a good spot?
Yeah, hi, mic check.
We got you.
Let's do it.
Great. Thank you for saving a space for me. Where I'm at in the world, I don't really have that good internet. I had some quick thoughts. At first, I was on Cap's side. Basically, I agree with Cap, where I was like, I don't think Zed's the place for it. And then I got thinking, and Steve kind of like, Steve kept going after it, and I was like, maybe. A place where like a game like Zed could benefit from stuff. So I've seen games over the years like innovate, and I've seen games that have like entire communities around like private lobbies or like these side things like Steve was going at. And do I think a game like that for no reason? Absolutely not. I think there's gonna be a reason to funnel people through that. And I started thinking, it might not even have to be through Zed. Zed might not want to own that, but if they can funnel people, like I'm just giving an example, maybe like a Decentraland of the world or another side of the world where there's a partnership with Zed and you're going there to do this. In my mind, I'm thinking like you're on a stable and you're an avatar and you're taking care of your horse. And why are you doing that? Maybe you're getting daily login rewards, or maybe you're trying to reach a certain amount of points to get something. And I don't think so. Cosmetics would be a great thing to achieve through that. I'm going to pause for a second.
Got it. You're rugging a little bit as you're talking, so hopefully we it's getting through. I guess my thing is you're kind of like, why would someone log in every day? And it's like the answer is it's a fun game. It's like people log in and spend money on most games. So I think there is a world where people will just actually want to log in and play a fun game and have the aesthetics and make that work. So I don't know. I think there is a world where that is the case. Where people just want to play a game. I don't know. Just a thought. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think there is some validity to that. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I agree. I think communities can be something like that. And I think I was thinking about Zed, like you can't obviously give them something that's going to make their horse win a race. But what you can do is you can, if I remember correctly, Zed is based off of a stamina. So you can raise so many times. Maybe you get a token that increases the stamina for 24 hours. Maybe you get a token that gives you 1.5% win, like a bigger pot if you get first place. And then those tokens are sellable. So like, get a game at all. You can just do the side stuff, and then you get these tokens, and you don't want them because you don't play the game. Now there's a market for that.
Yeah, I think it's it. I think it's like we have like bastardized the play to earn economy so much. It's like like, what if you just play and you get things that are worth like Pirate Nation? I thought was doing a good job of it. I haven't liked their recent sort of like way directions they've gone, although they've tried to correct course on that. But it's like, why not? I don't know, like, why not just like Pirate Nation? You like earn a little bit of money that like allows you to ultimately like, you know, like sell, or you earn stuff by, you know, grinding, getting wood that's worth like 12 cents. And if you have a whole bunch of wood, you could sell, you know, 10 of them for $1.20 or whatever. It's like, that's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing if like the numbers aren't absolutely bananas. So I don't know. I think it's like not a, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to have like numbers that aren't absolutely out of control. Just my take.
TLDR, I think I think we're close. I saw shout out to Crypto G who tagged Unreal Kingdoms and Cyber Ape Yacht building a game that's already approved on PC, Microsoft, and PlayStation. I know Goblin Town has a game that's another new game launching soon, and they got a nice run of like. People mentioned Grand Theft Auto 6, and you know that essentially is coming at some point in our lives and may incorporate tokens.
Fall,
like,
it's coming in fall. Yeah.
Do you think they have a crypto component or no?
There's somebody who claimed they did, but it seemed fake.
So I think that there's really something here. Whether it's this cycle or next, like it just. I'm rooting for all these brands. I hope one of them nails it. Maybe it is the reset of Zed. Maybe it's not, but I think we're getting closer and closer. And my summarizing my thoughts, and we'll get Chris in here, is I think yes, we need the fun casual stuff. Yes, it needs to be for this space ability to earn. I think maybe one of that missing components last season of play to earn in on-chain gaming. One of the pieces missing was the streaming component. Yeah, people could stream, but it wasn't baked in where tips were a native, you know, feature or function. Maybe that's part of maybe it's on-chain gaming plus on-chain streaming. And that's one of the, you know, like part of the formula that was missing. I don't know. It feels like we're getting close. And if and when we have one of these games that just goes bonkers, like really, you know, I know Off the Grid has had a lot of success. That could be the big paradigm shift where it just becomes the norm. People are going to incorporate not their V-Bucks, not their Robux, but actual on-chain tokens in building this, you know, entire on-chain economies with actual tokens. It feels like we're right there, just waiting for the next, you know, big game to drop.
Yeah, and I think and maybe I'll have a take on the streaming today, like that I'll throw out in the timeline because and by the way, appreciate the tip, Drew, appreciate Rare Ed as always, appreciate Mr. Baywatch coming through as well. Very kind, you know, to help me out here as we stream in the morning, because this is our job and we basically depend on sponsors, and the tips are super helpful for us as well as when we stay afloat. But yeah, like I think actually with Abstract, if nothing else, the streaming component is a amazing product where the tips are just tips. The tips come through and you get I don't know if they even take a platform fee or if it's small or whatever that is, but it's like they're just grinding with the crypto economy and have multiple crypto options to tip with. Like that is a good platform and a good program. And I think to your point, like this, if we have a raging bull market of any kind, and we have streaming opportunities that we can drive people with these sort of, you know, with this, I mean, it's like, you know, again, like small sample size, but I'd have to do the math on what a couple thousand Pengu is. But with 17 people watching on Abstract right now, I got a decent, you know, like that's a good morning for me. Like that's nice to have. Right. And so I do think there is a potentially a big play here, and I think that there is a big opportunity for streamers in this economy, man. Like in this sort of like economy that they're putting together on Abstract, and I think it's one of the smarter innovations they've put together is just sliding this all together. And the other thing you say about it, like, I understand why these large gaming studios aren't going to get into the world of crypto. It's too risky. It doesn't make sense. It's new infrastructure. They've already got a model. Their chip, stack of chips is too big to protect. All that, right? On the other hand, for some of these companies, we talked about it. If the underdog or a daily fantasy that you play was like, hey, man, you can have your money in USDC earning 5% over here, you'd do it. Everyone would do it. They could earn money. They give you 3% on your money earning if you store cash on the platform. You'd store more cash on the platform. It would earn that percent. They could earn a percent. So that's the other thing, is that they could take advantage of that yield as well. And, just makes sense to me versus a bank where you earn like a percentage of a percentage every single year. I was talking to my mom about CDs. Like, my mom has a CD coming up that she said money locked up. I'm like, you had your money locked up for like 3 years to earn 2% or 5% or whatever that number is. I'm like, you could earn that annually and have your money completely liquid on Coinbase. Like, so I don't know, maybe not Coinbase because you need to coin it if you needed to. So I should coin this video. But anyway, I don't know. I'll get off my rant. But I think like there is that opportunity for games to introduce it. But I think the streaming is a big component that we're going to continue to see more and more people pick up on. And I'm just
Well, and Dort brought up on that point. Dort brought up some good pushback on, streaming's tricky in this space. Daily fantasy is different. Giving lineup advice is not seen as giving financial advice. Giving advice on mints and potential runners can be conflated as financial advice more easily. Agreed. I think where I'm comparing the two, though, is streamers, DFS streamers, content creators are giving advice on a product that their audience can win if that advice is good. I think as we get more on-chain games that are fun and played by a lot of large amounts of people, that same idea it comes into this space, right? And to your point, when number go up and everyone feels they're printing, I think there is just natural generosity, and people are going to give back to those that help them hit on a win. The idea of, if I'm streaming a Fortnite game, maybe people are enjoying watching, but I'm not giving them any advice necessarily that they're going to go win $1,000 tomorrow. Whereas in this world of on-chain gaming, and I know it's a thin line for over hyper financializing everything and not. I think there's certainly some parallels there, and those DFS streamers, content creators, have done very well over the last decade in the form of tips that are a reward for the good advice they gave. And I think that is much more a possibility in on-chain gaming due to the financial nature in the on-chain economies than it is in traditional video game streaming.
I would agree. I think eventually we're going to get there. And kind of like the thing that I keep sort of running into is like, God, at what point are we going to like hit that sort of tipping point in the like it's sort of the like technology diffusion of like when technology is tipping and when the infrastructure is there? Like, at what point is it like we keep saying slow and fast and then all at once? Like, at what point are we going to get there, man? Like, I don't know. Like, that's what I keep trying to like think to myself is like at some point we're going to get there, right? Like at some point we're going to get to the point where crypto is just integrated. Like it's obvious, right? Like we're not going to not get there. It's just going to take time for it to be normal and ubiquitous, and somebody needs to introduce it first. What do you like? Because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I may be working on some content around this. What do you think needs to happen to tip us from where we're at to crypto being in games the way you say? Because Rockstar's not doing it tomorrow. I doubt they do it with GTA in the fall, right? I don't know.
I just think it's time. I just think it's more time. I think we're heading down that path. It's just, as we talked about, like the regulatory stuff, it's like it's heading the right direction, but I don't know if anything's necessarily actually been finalized yet. Yeah, and to your point, the big games like Rockstar is going to be, they're going to look for others to prove the concept first. So yeah, seems like the train's left the station. I think I don't know when we're going to start seeing it incorporated everywhere. Chris, you've been super patient. Always a pleasure. I'm not sure what invoked you this morning. What brings you up? GM, always good to hear from you.
Yo, I saw like 27 connection issue warnings. How do I sound?
Sound good. Coming through clear.
All right, there we go. What's up, boys? So, dude, I got a couple things. Question about your guys' streaming experience while hosting spaces. But the conversation today is pretty serendipitous, I gotta say. I'm flirting with the idea of doing social media for a Web3 gaming company that only wants to appeal to a Web2 audience. It's automotive and it's like drag racing. So you guys are talking about all the same exact, alignment things as far as, the game you're talking about earlier. But I'm looking at this like they want to go after an automotive crowd that is very likely the same guys that play games, watch YouTube, automotive stuff, all of that. They don't want to be hitting the Web3 CT audience. And I'm like, whoa, that number one sounds healthy, sounds like a better approach to getting people to care about your thing by not, hyper financializing the pitch. And it's not just pitching inside the bubble. I'm curious what you guys think about that, sitting drag racing your buddies potentially for money. But I'm like, what is it that people like? What are people going to sink their teeth into that are already in that world of like the automotive crossover and gamer? It's like a 2/3 of the people that are in automotive are generally pretty avid gamers. Like, what is it that they're going to appeal to them? Like, what do you guys think about a general audience that doesn't care about every single move you make? Like Cap, you were saying earlier, you don't want to play a game that's not financialized. And I get that because it's CT heavy, right? But what do you think about that? Like outside the space, like what would make video gamers that care about cars that want to drag race in person and probably do dumb stuff in person get involved with a game that maybe they don't know it's Web3? I don't know. Just curious about your guys' thoughts. I want to ask you about your stream after.
I would say a good game would be number one. And I know that it sounds really, really reductive, but like a good game would be number one. But like one of the quotes that resonated with me that I actually put in my book, The Everything Token, available anywhere you want to buy books. One of the things that I put in my book was the quote about Luca Netz, who says the difference between my toy and the toy right next to it is that like you can get my toy there and there's more to it, right? Like the phygital aspect, the money. And I don't remember what he said, so I don't want to like misquote him, but the idea that like you can buy the $20 toy and then you can get $10 in Pengu. I don't know, I'm making it up, whatever it is. Like the separating of this thing is like the Web3 element gives you an extra thing to it. Now, again, do you need to say it's Web3? No. It's like if you have a drag racing game and it's like, congrats, you won this like skin when you did the drag racing just for doing your first one. And it's like you could sell it on the open market for $1. Let's say there's like $1 that they're selling, these things are selling for. You're buying it. I don't know what it is. But like the idea that like you would have an actual game flow where somebody does something, they receive a skin, an upgrade, or whatever that they own. And then you inform them that like, yeah, and if you want, you could use this or you could sell it for real money. Like once you've connected a Stripe account, it can go straight through there. Like as Web 2 as possible, but like telling people, like, I think the thing we're missing is like, people look at a game and they think, okay, I could sell this for money within the game and use that money to buy more money stuff within the game. Like, and again, like I spend real US American dollars to get tanks in Grand Theft Auto so I control people online with them. So like, it is what it is. But like you show people like you've earned this thing in the game, you could keep it and use it, or you could sell it for real money by doing this, this, and this. And, then when they get their first sale, it's just like someone getting their first NFT sale. It's more addictive. So I think that like making it as light touch as possible, not mentioning crypto, not mentioning NFTs, but you just got a paint upgrade. Like you could keep it or you could sell it. Like this is pretty rare. See what it's selling for on the open market. Like I think directing people through that workflow is probably the move. And then, they figure out how but I think that that's the move. I also think it's important to have a third-party marketplace in most of those instances because you don't want to be issuing tax forms to 7-year-olds as a gaming company. You want to do what you do best, which is gaming. So those things come to mind for me, where it's like, if my kids knew that my daughter's grinding on Pet Simulator 99, and the other part is partnering with the relevant KOLs in the space who aren't crypto KOLs. So like, I said with Doodle's DreamNet, if it's what I think it is, they should be partnering with Dungeons and Dragons people like, Critical Role or Tim Woods, or people who understand that world, because they could, translate why that makes sense. I said it about Zed back in the day, like, partner with, the Preakness, the Kentucky Derby, find horse racing enthusiasts, advertise on Facebook to people who like, write an article about why it's good and why you could start your own stable, and advertise it to people who like those things. Find the KOLs who are racing KOLs and video game KOLs who will talk about like how I made $1,000 just playing a game online. Because right now it's like the inverse of that. It's like, see how Flight Reacts' $8,000 team lost in the championship because he bought an all Madden team or whatever it is, or all, NCAA team. Like, so I think the Web 2 marketing aspect and abstracting away the concept of Web 3 are the two key things if you're really looking to reach that audience. And like, if you're asking me a recommendation of like who to reach, like, like if I was doing the marketing for something like that, I'd be like, yeah, like, talk to a couple of KOLs in Web 3 who you trust, but find the people who are into cars and what it is, explain it to them. Find the people who are into video games, explain it to them, and co-opt them to create content around it, because their audiences are going to be more valuable. And then it just happens. So that's, I don't know, that would be my way too oversimplified recommendation, just answering on the spot, is that's the audience you're looking for. And I think too many Web3 games are like, all right, let's reach out to all the Web3 KOLs and get them to play the game, even if they're not gamers, even if they're not interested in it, even if they don't know cars. Like, I think you need people who are going to say like, oh man, like, that's a 56G double deuce engine. I'm making it up. I have no idea. Like, you need people who are excited about that part of it. And you need to make sure you get that part right. And then you need to take their feedback and fix it when they say you don't know ball because you put a, 43 Excalibur Cadillac converter and a 62G B45 engine, and you can't do that. Like, you need those people involved in the game, not the people who are, I was going to say something I shouldn't say. Like, not the people who are too deeply ingrained in crypto KOL world. So that's my thought. That was a long-winded answer, Cap. I don't know if your thoughts on how you would market or do socials around the game or anything like that.
No, I mean, well said. I think, and this is, it seems like a continuation of conversations we started having back in 2021, and things have advanced a lot since then. So hopefully this second time around is really, they hit the sweet spot. It is difficult. It is tough. I do think it starts with the game, build a fun game that people are going to want to play without any Ponzi or out any financial incentive, and then layer that into it. It's very difficult. I recognize it's very easy to say that. It's very difficult to actually build the thing and it to be sustainable. It's a tough task. When someone nails it though, like really nails it, and then we see the actual model that's stuck and is sustainable, then I think the floodgates open for on-chain gaming. Once someone does this, builds this model, this game where you solve it for both sides, the fun, casual, public player who's not going to put 10K into a account to buy an asset, a digital asset, but yet also attracts those people from here. Difficult, but whoever does it and builds that roadmap, I think we're going to see mini games. That'll be potentially like the on-chain gaming meta. We're just not quite there yet, but I think it could be any day. And I said we're not quite there yet. I guess we have to give credit to Off the Grid. Like, they seem to be there. They seemingly have done it. Chris, we're running up against 10 o'clock here, but you said you had another thought or question or
Yeah.
like, we're here. By the way, for those not familiar, we are streaming today because of Chris, because of his generosity and helping us get things sorted out behind the scenes, all these the Roadcaster and the cables and the cords. So thank you very much. And if you're not yet following Chris and you're into streaming or audio video, you need to give him a follow. The guy is a expert in his field. So appreciate you.
Let's go. I appreciate you, brother. No, so that's why I want to ask you guys. So you're on Abstract a bunch. Two things. First off, I just want to say, what's your experience been hosting spaces and layering that with the stream, because that is a huge challenge for people who don't know. Monitoring two different sets of audiences in two different places at the same time is a huge stretch on your brain. So well done that you guys are keep doing it. I want to know how that's going for you. And then number two, the most important thing, I had a talk with the abstract team about incentivizing the Clippers. And I told them to 10x what they were paying them, and they did. They took my advice and 10x the amount that they were shelling out for incentivizing people to clip content. Have you guys had people clipping your content? And Cap, just so you know, you can play super dope games that are not Web3. You can stream them and people can clip your content and get paid to do it, and you'll be building your abstract. So there's your financialization aspect. You can kind of break out of Web3, bro. Something to think about. I've just been playing a game called Monster Hunter lately. I haven't bought a game in 20 years, and I stayed up till 3 o'clock the other night playing a PlayStation 5 video game. Obviously, there's something to it that's not financialized that's got me hooked. So maybe stream that. Anyway, so what do you think about clipping and your streaming experience during spaces? Go for it, boys. Thanks.
Love it. No, I appreciate the recommendation to the abstract team, because we absolutely have had multiple people clip our take clips of the show, send it out on the timeline. Be Epic comes to top of mind. I know you've done that several times. There's others there, and probably Steve, you can pick up the ball I'm dropping for forgetting some of the other names. But yeah, we get a lot of clips. I'm curious if anyone's had even done any math in terms of like what it is equating in terms of XP or how much of an impact they think clipping is having. But yeah, it's a little challenging managing the multiple chats, and we've also turned on YouTube, so it's YouTube, it's abstract, it's X video stream chat, it's X standard chat. I'm sure we missed some, but we've got a great audience. Our usually if we're ignoring them in one chat, they'll go drop it in the other. But no, hasn't been too bad managing multiple chats, and something that quite frankly we should have done years ago. And it's one of the unintended consequences of this, and Steve, I'll hand it off to you and take it wherever you like. It's like it's actually been a big upgrade for us with our sponsors. We get, I think almost every sponsor we've had since we turned on video has given us feedback regarding the production quality, and we never got a production quality compliment when it was just audio only. So there's absolutely something here, whether you're talking about streaming games or you've got a segment, or like video just unlocks another level. And I think we've pat ourselves on the back. I think we've done a good job of adding this layer without losing the, what we like about social audio and like that, morning drive time radio type touch and, feel to it. So yeah, I don't know, Steve, any other thoughts?
No, it is hard. It is difficult. To your point about the production quality, I got a text this morning from a relatively well-known investigative reporter, also happens to be my brother, who said, am I wrong that the quality of your morning show has gone up a bunch? The production value is so clearly so much higher. I hadn't watched it in a while because for some reason it's not getting put into my feed anymore, and noticed it's video now, and the video is high quality. So, I mean, that's a guy who is, he's got some clout. Also happens to, grew up in the same house as me. But I think number one on abstract, imagine that, taking feedback from the community instead of thinking they know everything. What a novel concept. The fact that you said you should be paying your clippers more. I swear to God, I almost said streamers and clippers together, which is strippers. I was like, you should be paying your strippers more. I said you should be paying you said you should be paying your clippers more. And they said, you know what? That's a good idea. It's the recognition of the attention economy, and not in like the way that the attention economy has been bastardized as like this, concept and this buzzword, but in the idea that they're like, we think streaming, I've said many times, streaming was brilliant because it's the best way to get people to talk about your product and incentivize them to use it, talk about it, and show it visually. And then to have clippers and give them a thing. So like they didn't get approved to stream, they can't stream, but they watch stream, they can participate and clip. I've said many times, I think they should give point bonuses to people who are in the chat. I know that's hard because you have bots. They should give points bonuses to streamers because they're free marketing, and clippers because they're free marketing. And they're doing that. And I think so that's great, number one. And then number two, yeah, like it's difficult, but the quality is high, right? I think I was a holdout on that because I walk around. It is very hard for me to sit still as a human being. I didn't like getting up in the morning and actually making myself presentable for a camera. I, sometimes I would like make breakfast because I was busy all day, didn't have time to eat outside of when I was on the show. It's like today, like I'll give you an example of today where it cost me. I know this sounds silly, but it's like yesterday was a busy day for us. My wife got home from the gym. We made dinner. Didn't feel like doing the dishes. We have a sink full of dishes, a lot. If I was on this show previously without the stream, I would be upstairs, and every time I go on mute, I would be emptying and loading the dishwasher and cleaning the entire kitchen. Instead, that 45 minutes, that hour of work of my kitchen is either ahead of me or I need to do it tonight. So you miss some things here and there, but I think the quality of the streams has gone up. The quality of the clips has gone up. Payne's made some amazing videos, and it makes us more professionally done, and it's opened up a whole new world for us to play around in. Cap, I do need to get that equipment. We need to actually have that conversation. We talk about it all the time, and then we both forget about it, and then we have our next meeting. We're like, hey, we should talk about the equipment. I really should get some redundancy, because if you win the lottery tomorrow or go on a cruise with your family, we're not streaming anymore. So I probably need to get that setup going on in the morning and get that going. But that's what my...
If I win the lottery, we are streaming more. The production quality might change slightly, but I'm not going anywhere.
If we win the lottery, we should drop a free NFT mint or something for listeners in some way, shape, or form, and then we can just use that money to throw the biggest banger parties at every event that everybody wants to get into, because we just have money to burn. Like that would be we'd be like a Web3 company in 2021 who just got VC funding and didn't know what to do with it. That said, Cap, anything we missed or any cleanup before we get out of here?
I see Jashaka had a request up. We're going to wind things down here, but would love for you to come back tomorrow. We'll get you in on the conversation. I thought there was something else we were going to hit on today, but it's not coming to me. So, but if you are curious about Zed, get your Zed Yap post out today. Get qualified for those 500 badges and 2% of the token. I'm not going to talk about some of the other mechanics, but how they're doing the token, like it's almost like a soft staked in a sense in the horse itself. So as the horse wins, the horse's Zed token, that's bundled with the horse increases. Of course, that goes in the racing pool. Like they've really put a lot of thought, some new stuff we've not seen yet before in this. So I genuinely, more after I played around with it, I'm genuinely excited about playing the game and it to go live here in the next week. So excited about that. Excited about seeing Mintators and the Think bundles. Those mints go off. I saw it was just under 1,000. I think already minted 800-900 already on the those Think bundles. I think that goes for another 4 or 5 hours or so. And I think AI with Bunchu back tomorrow. We've had a couple of weeks off. We had some wild Thursdays last week, obviously with ApeCon, and excited to get Bunch back on the show. And especially coming off this week, it seems like AI might very much so be back in the consciousness, with AI leading the charge. Some of these, I really don't understand. We didn't get into like a full-on market update, but the wild candles on some of these, like why did Pingo jump 30-40%? I don't, Zero Bro up 100%. Like I don't understand quite the whys behind it. Like where are majors are running, like maybe this was like, is it just, did we see a lot of capital come back risk on? I don't really know, but going to be curious to follow that throughout the rest of the day today and into tomorrow. And NFL draft tomorrow night. So for all those that are grinding NFL best ball, you've got about 36 hours before the pre-draft contest lock.
Yeah, I need to or those people who grind. I haven't grinded replies in a hot minute. I might need to get back in that game of the reply grind on every single pick, where people get upset when I'm like, how does Schefter know these picks? It's like he's a wizard, and people are like, they're tipping him. I'm like, I know that, but you just let me get 300,000 impressions on that reply. So I might get back into that to pump a nice little X check. It's I think I might have done 2 million X impressions in the day that the NFL draft happened last year. Definitely 1 million. Maybe Tebow did 2 million. I did 1 million, but I definitely crested 1 million in one day on draft, just commenting quickly with notifications on that. So I may get in that game again, just because that is a fun game to play.
Oh, you know what? So great call. That's what I need to do. I need to kick off my reply guy on X during the NFL draft because I'm well versed. Crypto Doozy says Genty better land at Vegas. Patriots might screw us at 4. Patriots better not take Genty. I think it would be I'm a fan of Genty. I think he goes early. I think Vegas or Chicago, that's kind of chalk, but I think it plays out. Be Epic, though, brought up something that all this market talk this morning. We are a week out of tax day. He said, I figured they would wait to pump or until after tax day. Could that, or are we overcomplicating things? Is it, market's going to be volatile during this administration. It's going to be volatile both to the up and to the down. And what we're seeing over the past week is simply all those tax checks got cut. Now people are back in the market.
Yeah. Could be. That's a great point by Be Epic. I hadn't thought about that. Because my mind is warped on everything else. But
I'm sure there was some forced liquidations. Like I'm sure there were people that were forced to sell leading into tax day because they weren't in a position to just stroke a cash check for all their gains from 2024. So I'm sure there was some forced selling going into that. Maybe not, every asset, but some of them certainly were forced liquidations, I would imagine.
Yeah, and also Be Epic with the other piece in the chat that says, hope the Browns don't trade the pick. They're taking Travis Hunter. I mean, they I believe it was Schefter. There are multiple credible reports that said the Browns have informed Travis Hunter that they're going to take Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter has been told.
Management's talking about him like Shohei Ohtani. They're going to play him at wide receiver. This is financial advice. If you're drafting best ball today, draft Travis Hunter. He's still going in the 60s. His ADP is 69. I've been drafting him since he was in the 120s. I should have been drafting him 100% of him there, but there was too many of the talking heads. Oh, he's only going to play defense, only going to be sprinkled in and plays an offense. The Browns are going to play him as a elite wide receiver, and he should be going maybe not 101. Genty is the running back, probably still there, but he should be going 102, if not 102. If you want to take the quarterback, he should be going 103, or in something like best ball, he certainly should be going ahead of the Omarion Hamptons, the T-Max Hetero McMillans. T-Max,
people are picking Omarion Hampton over Travis Hunter. He's going to play wide receiver full time. That was the whole thing. Is he's a reverse from what normally you see, the Chris Gambles of the world who play wide receiver, DB, and then ultimately play DB in the pros, maybe some packages on offense. He's the opposite. He's going to play almost exclusively on offense.
I agree with you, but what happened early in draft season is something got out that, I know what it was. It was because he went to the combine as a DB. He was listed as a DB. The talking heads, the collective group think everyone's like, oh, he's going to be primarily a cornerback, and he's only going to play 20-30% of the snaps on offense. It's just not enough to be an elite fantasy option. He's not going to get enough run. And I'm like, I don't know. Or what if he is? And then he's way too cheap. Now that the Browns are basically saying, no, this guy, we're going to feed him the ball. The market's adjusted. I shared in the war room, I was doing a $250 slow draft, and it was the earliest I took him. This is a week or two ago. I took him ahead of ADP. I took him at 69. At the time, he was going 84. And I'm not even mad, because I think that he's going to be his closing. I think when it comes to Best Ball Mania, which will start on, I think, Friday after the draft's completed, that's the big best ball tournament for the year. I think his ADP in that, I think it'll steam up to second round, third round. There's no reason he shouldn't be going as high as Marvin Harrison, Roma Doomsday, and Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas were last year. I think he can have that sort of an impact, and he just got devalued way too much because they thought he was going to spend too much time on defense.
It's he's too athletic. That's the problem here. But no, I mean, they got Ward, they got Delphi, they got I think a cat they drafted in the second or third round last year playing defensive back, or in the past couple of years. So I think the Browns are.
It's a fun season. I don't think they're going to go to the playoffs, but I think let Flacco sling the ball, throw it around. The Hunter's going to bring in, get the fans excited. I mean, I hope they don't take Shador. There's some rumors they're going to trade up in the back first or take Shador their second. I really hope they go Milroe or Dart. I don't want the drama of Shador and Travis Hunter, and then Deion Sanders is going to be an assistant coach, and I don't know. It'll sell tickets, I guess, but I just hope they go elsewhere for the future QB.
No, the Browns aren't going to draft Shedeur. I'd be shocked if they did. I don't like the idea they're trying to trade up for Milroe, but you know what? He's fun and exciting. So he's I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a really good draft, Nick, who said is the most athletic quarterback he's ever evaluated in maybe from, it wasn't exactly a most athletic because he's not like he's Mike Vick, but like he basically said that he was like more physically imposing than Cam Newton from what he could tell, which I thought was shocking to read. So maybe it could be some fun times in Cleveland while they try to tank into next year and hopefully get Arch Manning. But yeah, Hunter is going to be, it's going to be Hunter. I see Grossi saying they were taking calls. One, they should take calls. Two, I don't trust anything Tony Grossi says. So both those things go hand in hand, even though those seem sort of at odds. And yeah, agree.
Maybe that's what I should do. Stream the draft while they reply on Twitter. Also, breaking news. We can continue to dunk on Coinbase. Zora launched and it's a mess. I'll pin up a post from FFV.
Have they airdropped yet though? Because I saw that they launched the token and it's down, but I don't think they've distributed any sort of airdrop.
Apparently, they've started sending airdrops. I'll share this. I was just trying to pin it. So it's up top. I'll also share the screen here real quick, and then we will get you guys out of here. I promise. Kind of insane how trading the airdrop already went live for multiple centralized exchanges, but Zora has not made any announcements about allocations, claiming, etc. in 2 days. Yeah. Seems like the base for everyone was actually a marketing stunt to pump the token they invested into. Talking about Coinbase here, who has 50, who's in the round for Zora. And Whales post, it's apparently live, but they prioritize the centralized exchanges before the actual users. Bold strategy.
Well done. Base is just knocking it out of the. This is one of the all-time reputational fumbles. Like I went from being like, man, would love to have, love like Jesse, like he's crushing it, like Base is the, got all this going for. I went from that to like such a lack of faith in that. It's not me trying to like FUD or talk trash. Like as people know, like I'm not one who like seeks out drama or engagement farming or anything. It's just it's mind-boggling to me how much they flipped from what I believe to be like the top scalable L2, gonna get people on, easy onboarding, got Coinbase behind them to, man, I struggle with them quite a bit. So I don't know. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But Cap, let's let everybody get out of here. Appreciate everyone coming through this morning. Appreciate all the awesome tips on Abstract this morning as well. I probably like $30, which is well on my way to that $12,000 tip. We'll just incrementally get there. So appreciate everyone who was kind in the chat on that. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.